Pocket's a bit sort of weird, isn't it? Yeah. How much is that little bit of jewellery? Harbour for the second day's racing of the flying 18-footers. Not much wind today, but the sun is out, and we have a good fleet after we saw the first day's racing last weekend, and we had 2 short races, and we saw some thrilling racing, very close in the end, and a day that belonged to Balmain, some newcomers to the class, a new sponsor. So it certainly was their day last week, but today we've got a lightish east-northeasterly breeze, and we'll hear about that in a moment. And it's the first race of the club championship. So it's a full course today. No buoys of different lengths, so it's a full-blown course. I'm Peter Shipway, and along with James Bury and Andrew Buckland, we'll be bringing this telecast to you. So first we say welcome back to Andrew Buckland, an absentee last week. But Andrew, a lot of people were asking in your absence about the weather and how the water temperature off Coffs Harbour will be affecting today's weather. Could you give us an overview, please? Welcome.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, not much to do with water temperature today, mate. I'm reluctant to report, you know. But, high pressure cell out in the Tasman Sea, just about due east of Sydney. Quite weak gradients. The model's in a bit of disagreement about what might occur today, but expecting peak wind speed in the first half hour of the race, probably 12 knots. We are going to see east-northeast, east to east-northeast, and all the fleet on big rigs. So flood tide, long beats, it's sort of a semi-windward lured type of course. We'll talk about that in a sec. But I think a good test of boat speed, and you'd expect the cream to rise to the top.
Yes, we're on the number 2 course, which is the easterly course, which takes us from the start, which is up off Robertson Point, which is off the Mossman area of Sydney Harbour, and the first leg takes us right up into Rose Bay. So we say welcome to Jimmy Bury. Jimmy, what are you expecting today?
Thanks, Pete. Mate, I don't know. I think I overheard that the guys at Smeg haven't quite got their boat dialed in yet, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. You know, fading breeze, it's going to be sort of anyone's game, isn't it? Like, I think we were chatting just before we went on air, and we were saying last time we were on this track, it was the haves and have-nots coming past Point Piper, really dictated who got out to the, or who was in that leading pack. It was quite a, big separation between the two. I like the look of that Balmain guys after last week. Like, I know it was 3 boys, but I thought they sailed exceptionally well. Their off-wind speed was amazing last week. That was on a different rig. But yeah, I'm excited just to be out here again, and it's a nice, beautiful, sunny day on Sydney Harbour.
Well, it's going to be tricky, I think, Andrew. I think we agree on that. It's looking upwind. It's there's a lot of puffs. There's a lot of voids in the wind, and looking at yachts going upwind, they're certainly pointing in different directions, trying to all go in the one way. So it'll be a case of join the dots, really.
Yeah, I mean, Pete, last time we saw this sort of condition, I think was a race of the Giltinan, where the gains and losses downwind were pretty substantial, which sort of isn't what happens necessarily in a nor'easter. You know, if you jibed at the jibe mark in a lane of headed pressure, you could, the gains that we saw in one leg were in the order of 1 minute a couple of times. So very much a course which appears to favour the left side on the first part of the beat, with the flood tide as well, and the right side at the top of the beat, and the transition, and there's no mucking around in the middle. If I'm doing the tactics anyway, Pete.
You don't want to go too far into the left, though,
No,
Bucko, because of the big shadow off Bradley's.
And it's just got enough north in it that the shadow off Bradley's is significant.
Well, the 2 boats that are on the scratch handicap, although it's not a handicap start today, that's Tech 2 and Smeg. They were slightly disadvantaged last week because they had to go to the furthest mark, and they gave a lot away by doing that. But today it'll be a good test of boat speed for those 2. Smeg, it's a new boat this year for Michael Coxon and his crew of Ricky Bridge and Zach Barnabas. So I suppose they'll still be ironing a few of the creases out in their boat. And Tech 2, well, they were strong last year, but just couldn't nail the Giltinan, which was won ultimately by Smeg. But it's very quiet here at the moment. We're off Robertson Point. We're just about to get starting signals, we hope, from the committee vessel. And the breeze, wow, it'd be lucky to be 8 knots here, wouldn't it, Andrew?
Well, Pete, as we noted, there's a bit of wind shadow, there's a bit of compression off the hillside here, but it's bouncy. So the puff might be 10, 11, and the lull, about 8.
Yeah.
We're in a lull at the moment. But if you look out into where the free stream is in the middle of the harbour, it is a little bit windier. So a couple of things to balance up in tactical choices here.
Tech 2 just at the stern of the committee boat, and that's Burrawang Young Henrys, a new sponsor. Simon Nern, a veteran skipper, his crew of Rory Cox and Brandon Bynick. They had a good day last week in the second race. They got a 4th. So nice to see a new sponsor popping up in the 18s. Lazarus Capital Partners, Marcus Ashley Jones, Geronimo Harrison and Daniel Phillips.
And that's a pretty strong combination.
That could be a bit of a surprise for today, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a new boat for Marcus. He was showing glimpses last week at times of good speed.
Just got to get more glimpses.
Yeah, got to join the glimpses.
Yeah.
To be one.
Join them together. But Pete, looking upwind now, we're looking at the track, and it's turned left a little bit.
It has,
hasn't it?
Yeah, there's a yacht going up towards Bradley's. He's very high on the left, but anyway, it's a long, tricky beat up into Rose Bay. We're just still at the Starney area, just waiting for signals.
But Pete, looking at the fleet, you'd expect that the fight at the front will be Smeg and Tech 2, wouldn't you? And there's a big fight on for third, which will be reluctant to commit any dollars to any particular boat. And I don't know, Jimmy, what do you think? For third, Yandu, Shaw and Partners,
Royal Oak,
Balmain Slate,
Slate, Noakes Blue.
Noakes Blue, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Who haven't we named?
The fleet. Let's go the fleet.
You can tick that box, can't you?
It's expensive though, mate.
Exactly.
And Yandu, we expect to be pretty competitive. Whole new outfit, and sometimes boats go fastest on their first day on the water. We're about to see if that works. Peter, you'd be aware of that.
Absolutely. But they looked pretty sharp last week with their second. Every boat was on their second rig last week, so it's a big test for their big rigs today.
It's a very eligible crew that just went past on that runabout with Matt Stenner and Gus Williams.
It's Yandu. Focus now.
So the only absentee in the fleet today is Noakes Sailing. Sean Langman evidently waiting for possibly Josh Probeski to arrive from New Zealand.
And Ed Powers too, I
And
believe.
Ed Powers
5
might
minutes.
be offshore as well, I think.
I know Ed's dad, Dave, was watching from sunny England last week. He sent me a note.
Okay, good.
He said, "Where's Andrew?"
Now,
I said, "Oh, he'll be back."
Jimmy, were you in charge of the new paint job on the Royal Oak?
No, that was all done by Brett Van Munster. Brett was very busy up there at up the coast, building boats, painting boats, and yeah, the Royal Oak come out in a nice green.
Not quite British racing green.
No, not quite, but close.
Nonetheless, we've got starting signals. So we're inside 5 minutes for the first heat of the club championship. And it's the third race of the spring championship. We saw 2 races last week. So today is the third race of that spring championship. It's a full course today, scratch start. We're on the number 2 easterly course. And
4 minutes.
4 minutes. A few spectator boats around to chop the water up a bit. A few ferries going up and down as traditional Sydney Harbour. And 3 minutes 40. Now, Andrew, we haven't had a really good look at the line. What are your thoughts? It's
I think you've got to try and get onto port tack pretty promptly. So I don't think the line bias is of any consequence. I'll be starting towards the boat end and trying to get onto port, I think. You might look good for the first minute if you're on starboard going to the light.
Yes, but you don't want to get too locked into the left, as you say. You'll end up very squirrely under Bradley's head.
Yep. Only, the difference between good and not good will be one wing dip, on the way in these boats.
So Robertson Point is to the west of Athol, or west of Bradley's Head. There's the committee boat. It's leaning to the left a little on the shift.
So on screen there, you can see the spectator ferry, the ferry wharf in behind on the point, on Robertson's Point itself.
You can see the start marks right midships of the ferry. So that's the starting line. We're looking right down the starting line there. We've got 2.5 minutes to go. Not much breeze, a few little puffs rolling down, but gee, it's nothing to get excited about.
And breeze high left in the left, but you've got to get out to the free stream in the middle somehow.
Put the foot down and just go.
And no challenge at all, Pete, is it?
No, they're starting to get excited now. Coming up to 2 minutes. There's 2 minutes now. And the majority of the fleet are up at the weather end at this stage. There's a good overhead shot. There's the pin end, or the leeward end, just in middle of screen, bottom there with the checkered wrapping around the buoy. And looking up towards the committee boat, where we are positioned on our sail media cat. Minute and a half to go. What are you seeing, Andrew?
Well, fleet's well behaved for a change, and breeze a fairway left and soft.
It was well behaved last week, actually, in the two starts we had. Just a minute 10 to go.
Now, the line is only probably about not even 40 seconds long, so they do need to be pretty cautious.
Okay.
The line on the short side.
Okay, that
It's a minute.
That hooter you may have heard is for the minute, but the breeze looks left here, Andrew.
Yep.
It's going to...
And you can see that it's hard to cross the line on starboard,
It is.
fact, as we speak.
It is very hard.
So the bias is considerable. I think some Olympic classes would blow the start up, but I think the 18s will let it rip. And indeed they should.
35 seconds to go. Smeg in the middle of the line at the moment. Yandu down towards the pin, as was Lazarus. Ilvay. 20 seconds.
I think if Shore and Partners can get in at the windward, and not on screen, but Shore and Partners at this end might be the best located as we speak.
Get in and tack, you think?
Yep. Just sheet on now and tack round the boat.
5 seconds. I think we're going to be clean. Yeah, we're clean, I'd say.
Young Henry's has port tacked them from the other end.
Yep.
And the Royal Oak also from the boat end in good shape. Wow. So in the scramble, Smeg's got out pretty clean. Had to duck Shore and Partners though, as you see on screen there.
Burrowing Young Henry's. Is he going to cross there? He's across. On port.
I'm not sure what's going on Shore and Partners. They're not sheeted on, or they're looking over their shoulder, wanting to tack.
I think Royal Oak behind them, Bucko's just holding them out, from the tack. So
Yeah, maybe.
It looks light where they're going. A lot of the fleet have gone hard left here. Well, right into Robertson Point.
Tech 2 happy to go in there and call water, and he's probably got to try and jump. Our main partners haven't been in row C, Peter.
Yeah, or maybe try Z, unfortunately, for last week's winners, but they're up in Robertson Point.
Yandu's probably made the best of all that.
Yep.
Yeah, Gandu's come out well.
He was down at the pin early and stayed down there, got a pretty good start. But as you see, as they're going out into midstream, they're all taking a big header now.
So high left on the left. Tech 2 leads on the left side, if that indeed works out. Oh, and the 4 Pines nearly in the tide.
Oh, a few little squirrely puffs there.
Yep. Bit of rust still in these guys, eh?
Four boats went hard left. The Tech 2, Shaw and Partners, Royal Oak and Noakes Blue. Tech 2, furthest to the left, which we're not on at the moment, is further to the left than these three boats we're on. They're very, very high. They're about 15 degrees higher than the boats that have gone out into midstream, but I think they'll slowly head. There's Tech 2.
Well, Tech 2 leads.
Yeah, at the moment, if he keeps that high, he'll lead by plenty. He will lead by plenty.
So he's never been afraid to push an edge.
No.
No, not at all. 4 Pines is good. Shaw and Partners rig is all out of whack, Jimmy. Have you been helping them?
I thought that's where you've been away, what you've been doing while you've been away, Bucko, helping people with their rigs.
Secret squirrel, no. No,
Just working on your madness for Hobart.
that's right.
Well, the Royal Oak 4 Pines has really shot through. He's got good boat speed.
Yeah, his setup looks pretty good too,
Yeah,
Pete.
he was good last week. There's Royal Oak 4 Pine.
I think Shaw and Partners might have had the jib bolted in a bit too hard. I figured it out. So the test now comes here, the little transition between the two breezes. Tech 2 about to experience the lull. And what do you reckon, Pete? Would Smeg cross them now from the other
Yeah,
side?
pretty much, I think. I think they're just taking some punishment now.
Yeah.
These boats that went hard left, lack of pressure and a header.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks
It's a long
pretty
way
ugly.
to the next puff, isn't it, over
Yeah.
here on the left?
Well, it's only 100 metres,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
But as you know from sailing the old ones, how long that 100 metres takes to get to you coming out of Careening
Yeah,
Cove.
I mean, that's a stationary puff, that one that
Yeah.
we're looking at. It's not rolling at all, so. But Tech
Painted
2's
on.
He's up and down. He's up a bit now.
Tech-
A bit
Tech
of
two's-
pressure. Going to come to a good little puff in about 10
Yeah,
seconds.
so that's a little roller, but they'll get him out of there, I think. But they've handled that very well, Pete, haven't
Yeah. Oh,
they? Technically.
Birkenhead have run out of grunt there. Shaw and Partners did the big dip. Poor old Birkenhead. They got the wobbles there.
Welcome back, Timmy. He's finally got back from Sail GP duties on the Birkenhead Point Marina.
So Timmy Westfield in the back of the Birkenhead.
Ooh. There's a few boats even gone further left behind Tech 2 now. The Rag and Famish, the Alien Footers Bar and Restaurant.
No risk involved with that, Pete.
No. The middle of the fleet, Yandu's got some good speed.
All new and shiny, Pete.
Yeah, they've stepped out very nicely.
So, fresh off the hands of Nick Daly, the sailmaker, in terms of rig tune. So it should all be Schmeg. Luff, Curve and rig tune married.
Yeah.
And should be good.
Fang Warren's been working hard on setting the boat up.
Yeah.
And also Finport going up the middle of the track as well. They're well positioned, but hard to see at the moment. I would say it's probably between Yandu and Finport that would be leading. They're probably good third, nearly halfway up the beat. They've come straight off the starting line on port, haven't tacked at all. Smeg's got himself a bit lost down there. He was well down the leeward.
He mustn't be going through the water too fast, Pete,
No.
for whatever reason.
Yes.
We're all open on the screen there.
Fleet are very spread out.
Well, nobody wants to tack.
No, they're just all going long port tacking. But it's Yandu at the moment is dominating this race. They're showing a fleet of clean pair of heels. They look good in the middle, high and fast. That's all you need, Bucko, isn't it? High and fast.
That's
Hard
what
to beat.
I know I used to tell you, Peter.
Yeah, it's hard to beat if you're high and fast.
That's right.
But they're halfway up to Rose Bay at the moment. They're on a terrific lift. They'd probably be not far off the ley line if they maintain that. But a lot of tricks between Shark Island and Point Piper, as we know. We've seen that over the years. Many have come to grief up here.
But Pete, I think you made a pretty good point there. Breeze slowly turning left as we get across the axis of the harbour, and Yandu wouldn't be far off the lay.
No. He is absolutely smoking on the Yandu.
So Tech 2 will be overstood, we would imagine.
All those boats that went hard left will, but
Yeah.
there's Finport. You can see Yandu top left of screen. He'd be the leader. Finport close to second. Specs wiggling their way down towards Point Piper as well.
Yeah.
It's
But you'd say that Fisher and Paykel might even be third or something
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, but all that's certain is that Yandu is leading.
And they look pretty good too, Pete, Fisher and Paykel.
Yeah, they were solid last week. That is the old winning group from
Yeah.
last year.
Yep.
So they were pretty strong last year. Jordan Gertis, the young skipper. But Yandu's going to have a really good lead here at this weather mark up in Rose Bay.
Well, Finport might be in front of him though.
Well, if it depends if he lays. It depends
he
where the
won't-
weather mark is.
No, he won't lay. The mark will be
Yeah.
in line with Finport,
Yeah.
also, more or less.
Yeah, Finport's now lifting up off Yandu. So the cavalry are charging up upwind, but real battle for third. Fisher and Paykel are in it. Tech 2's got himself back into contention. Lazarus there, Ilby. Barawang.
Copy.
So, Pete, good spectator fleet following the race here, but they're making plenty of difficulty
Yes.
for the non-leading part of the fleet.
Two leaders have just taken a massive header,
Yeah, well, there we go.
as we expected. So that will hand the advantage back to Yandu if they... He's ahead and below Finport.
I think it might revert back to where it was once they get the other side of the island, though. So interesting. Let's see.
Yeah. Snakes and ladders here. See Yandu now coming round the bow of Finport. But they're both on a pretty solid header from what heading they did have.
Yeah.
They're heading into the eastern end of Point Piper. And the rest of the fleet's strung out behind them. Now, Smeg's getting a wriggle along on around the Point Piper. He'd be back in the top 3 or 4, I would think, Smeg, when he bounces off the eastern end of Point Piper.
Yeah.
But Yandu leads. Finport and Smeg close to second. Ilvy fourth. Then the Barawang. So the weather mark is still a fair way up into Rose Bay. But Yandu's through the tricky part, you'd have to say, and he's on a solid header. It won't be long before he tacks, I wouldn't think, to consolidate this lead. Just pressure. It's all about pressure now, Andrew, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think he's slightly disadvantaged by where he is compared to where Finport is, so it might nearly even out again a bit.
Yeah, Finport's now lifting off him again.
Yeah.
If you're looking good, tack, Bucko. If you're
I
looking
told
good,
you
tack.
that 100 times, Peter.
There he goes. He heard us.
He heard us. You do.
Oh, he's going to cross, yeah. Yandu will lead. Not much in it.
No, it's close. He's indeed close.
Finport, Keegan York, Bryce Edwards and Phil Marshall. Oh, Yandu coming back on a shocker.
Yep.
Oh.
With a big hole in the wind. Like,
Finport's now, he's got a shocker too. Now you've got to join the dots, trying to get some little puffs, but
no, he's going back to the puff. The puff is
Yeah.
coming in from the left here.
Yandu hasn't got much wind, but he will lead
Yep.
The weather mark, there's probably about 200 metres to go to the weather mark.
Yeah.
And then from there, they'll run back to
Clark
Clark
Island.
Island. And then back to Carrabba Point, a long run back right down to the harbour, basically.
So effectively a VMG run to Clark Island and then a one-leg fast reach over to where the start line was, more or less.
Woody's setup looks really good there, Bucko.
Well, you'd hope it would be, you know, all new kind of revised C-Tech complicated set, you know.
Stuff.
Stuff, yeah. And, you know, Nick on his best behaviour for the new membranes and so forth, so, yeah.
Just crew looking around to try and pick a spot to tack. There's a little puffs rolling down towards Yandu. It's going to get him a good lane to go into this mark.
Yeah. And they'll both go to the lay line, Pete, here, I'm pretty sure.
There goes Yandu now. Bit of spectator chop. But there's some good nice little puffs coming between he and the mark.
From the low part of the hill upwind.
Yes, yeah.
And he thinks he's overstood, Pete. He just cracked the jib.
Yep.
Yep.
He's well overstood at the moment. Starboard rounding.
Ripping in.
Yeah. He's going to lead by about 20 seconds over Finport. So here we go. Yandu leads. And these two have got a good gap on the fleet. Okay, he's round. Now, a tricky run.
Yeah, that's never easy, but the natural course is a good one. You go to the Edwards and Jive,
Yeah.
you know, it's just got to, they don't have to do anything too fancy, I don't think.
It's a good
Okay.
set there.
Yeah, here comes Finport.
Good set. The young bowman, Mike Kennedy.
Yeah. He's complaining how low the boom is.
Yeah.
He has his trouble getting through it. I said, I'll only do one tack to the mark. They came off that starting line, long port tack. They only had to do a couple of tacks to get round the weather mark. So Finport's got a bit of a slow set. They've got a bit of a problem, I think.
Bit of a problem on the Finport of some description.
Oh,
Here
little.
comes Ilby
Oh.
next into the mark.
Two problems. They've got rid of them both, though. Spinning around the jib patterns,
Yeah.
spinning a foot round the dolphin striker. Apart from that, perfect.
Ilvey, James Doran,
Doing a
Wow.
cameo.
Cameo from Jones.
you've done a good job. And then it'll be between Lazarus and Smeg. And so Smeg will be fourth.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Yandu keeps on keeping on. He's gone into Point Piper, jibed and running back, not with great pressure. But here comes the cavalry. Here's Smeg.
So Smeg a minute and 30 in arrears. That's a lot.
Yep. Jibe set.
Jibe set, which is brave, but might be worthwhile.
Got to try something.
Yep. Pretty good set too.
Here comes the charge of the Light Brigade,
Yep.
headed by Marcus.
Lazarus Capital Partners. Then Fisher Pikel. Balmain. They recovered after a very poor start.
And they're in the third row.
And that's the Yandu from last year. So they're jibing as well. Oh, hang on to it, boys. The kitchen maker.
Nearly a good jibe set, but
Yeah.
not quite. Come on, mate. Sheet her on.
Not bad for a couple of new kids to the class, which is good.
Now
Tech
Tech
two.
2.
The Tech 2 must have got lost a bit in that last bit, Pete.
Yeah. These are a lot of the boats that went left, I think, early. Rag and Famish will be next.
And the breeze almost northeast. How about
Yeah,
that?
the Burrowang, she was well up and now she's dropped right back. She's round next, just in front of the Rag and Famish, Vintech. The Royal Oak, she again was well up and now drifted back a little.
A little.
Yeah,
A lot.
A lot, yeah. Takes the mark with her. Remember, you can glance the mark in these 18-footers, Andrew, can't you? And
Well,
don't have to take a penalty.
No, they changed the rules to try and sort of avoid the situation where blokes are getting wings locked at the mark. So
Yes.
the inside bloke can nudge the mark out of the way to some degree.
Oh, off camera, there's been a capsize. Is that?
The kitchen maker, I believe.
Is it the kitchen maker, is it? The boys are having an early swim. Around goes
18 footers.
18-footer restaurant, followed by Noakes Blue.
And enough wind now, the Bearaway's a little bit of a problem, but as we mentioned in the pre-start, the expected maximum wind speed about now, 3 o'clock local time.
Yeah. And the last two will be Birkenhead, Shaw and Partners. There's one other boat, which is the other.
Oh, the Lazarus.
Lazarus,
But
yes.
they were late to the start too, Pete.
Yes, they were. They were running backwards. The beat fleet had started running down to the start. Okay, so the big run is on down towards Clark Island. A long starboard and a short port into this mark. What are we seeing down here, Andrew?
Well, some pretty big angles. And the leader, the mark is directly in front of the camera cut. So if you look at the screen now, just off the CBD skyline, Yandu in the far distance, just getting towards the ley line on Port Jibe.
Maintains a healthy lead from Finport.
I tell you who's done best here is Balmain, Slate and Tech 2. Tech 2's got out of the peloton somehow.
Yes.
Harry Houdini on water. Yandu looks like they've been overstood on the jibe mark.
Yeah. They get a few heady puffs going to it.
Nearly
Yeah.
a two-star range.
It'll be
across-
hard to hold a spinnaker if they get a few
Yep.
left-handers down here.
Sheet hands day, Bucko.
So the boats that went down the southern shore have gained on the run with the rotation and the breeze. Yandu's at the mark.
But with not much pressure at all. He's just limping in towards the mark. But meanwhile, we're on Tech 2, Ilvy,
He just avoided two jibes.
Balmain. So Yandu is around. It's going to be it's going to be quite tight down to the next mark.
And have a look at this, Pete. The Balmain partner's going to nearly be in front of Smick here.
Yeah, they've done a good job. Finport will still be second, but Yandu have increased their lead. They've doubled their lead. So it's going to be a tight reach now down to Carrabba Point. If they get a few left-hand puffs, they're going to be really struggling. So it's a 3 strings, and away they go. But Yandu leads almost by a minute.
Yeah. No, it's not a minute, but it's close to. And
Very close.
Yes, it's 58 seconds there. It's close to a minute.
And Smick's jibe too early. They're going to have to do 2 more.
Yeah.
There we go. Finport round, Smick with 2 more little jibes.
It's Balmain with the orange spinnaker. Ilvy coming in with a black spinnaker. Balmain jibed early. So Smick's got himself up to 3rd.
And that's a pretty good effort. Them and Lazarus. So now just need a good angle selection into the mark. And Balmain's going to get their 4th. Look at that.
Yeah, that. And way in the distance, Yandu has to drop their spinnaker. The breeze has headed them so much, it'll be a main and jib reach
The shot's got a good vantage point.
They're off. Here's some action here at the jibe mark. Tech 2 coming in with a red Spinnaker. Balmain running away with the orange Spinnaker. Rag and Famish jibing with a white Spinnaker. And in comes Lazarus Capital Partners right at the mark. Fisher Paykel coming into screen in a moment. Black Spinnaker.
Good stuff. And almost true northeast there, Pete.
So what that's going to mean is going to be a bit of a soldier's course now.
Yeah, and it'll be a jib reach to the mark.
Yeah. And then probably one legger back into Rose Bay.
Yeah.
So Yandu's done this pretty well. They ran in towards Garden Island, dropped the chute, as have Finport. Now it'll be a main and jib reach. So who's going to drop chutes first here?
Advantage here goes to the guy that times the chute drop best and possibly earliest.
Yes.
The breeze will head as you go across the bottom ridge here, tighter as you go. So
they've all got plenty on. Oh, there's the Lazarus. Full noise with a white Spinnaker. There's Tech 2. To windward of him is Ilvi.
Tech 2 very good at this, so Pete.
And Balmain have dropped drop their Spinnaker. Yandu is a street and a block ahead at the moment.
Well, the boats two-sail reach no slower than they run with the chute. So.
Yeah. So Finport's dropped, Spegs dropped, Ilvi's still hanging on to their Spinnaker, as is Tech 2. Balmain have dropped. Yeah, a bit more, a few puffs coming.
Ilvi on the big header.
Hang on to it, boys. Oh, they're off to visit the Navy at Garden Island at the moment.
Just to the left of them, Tech 2 just going into drop. And that's probably pretty judicious from the Tech 2 boys.
Yeah, there goes Ilvi. They've dropped. Trying to drop.
Yeah. So Tech 2 will get to fourth here.
The beneficiary out of all that is Balmain, who's almost right behind the camera cat where we are. Bucko, two stringing in good pressure. They're off screen at the moment, but
I think Tech 2's best place.
Better angle.
Yeah, slightly better. So you see now the leaders who dropped early are now struggling to get down.
Yeah.
So less wind on this edge, even though it's a little further forward, not enough pressure.
Yeah. The fleet of concertinery again here.
Yep. So Woody should have reset, but he hasn't. And Smeg is
smoking up. So
no, he's just depthing on the face of the puff.
Yeah. So Yandu's still short of the leeward mark. He's got about probably 40 metres to go.
And back in the old days when I was a lad, it's quite a while ago.
Black and white days.
We used to say, try and get to Fort Denison on this leg with a shooter.
So Yandu limping to the mark, that's all you can say. And the distance is really closed up because Finport's come down with a gust, as has Smeg. So Yandu is around now. Oh. Spoke too soon.
And Fang dropped the main chute. So the rounding wasn't what it should have been.
No, a little clumsy rounding from Yandu. We're not on them at the moment. We're on the chasing pack. Now there's Yandu now.
Yeah.
Standing off on start, but he's been round by about 15 seconds. And it's going to be a real battle for second. Smeg's come from the clouds and will go round the outside of Finport. Finport will just be second, but Smeg's close right up. There they go. Second and third. They're about 35 seconds adrift of Yandu.
And the battle for, Balmain just in front of Tech 2, the next group.
There's Finport standing away in towards Robertson Point. So it's not going to be a one-legger.
No, Smeg will jump out, I think.
Okay, and we're just... So it's Yandu, Finport, Smeg, and then around in fourth spot is the boys in Balmain. Boat length behind is Tech 2. 3 boat lengths is Ilve. So game's on here. It's closed right up. Ilve's going to attack.
Oh, Jimmy. Yeah, the camera cat's the mark of the course at this moment.
Not a bad move
Always is.
from Ilve, I'd say, to
No, that was a good
attack
effort.
early.
You want us in the action? We're in the action.
Next around is Fisher Pokel. Then Lazarus Capital Partners. They are screaming in. They're around, just boat length behind. Then the Rag and Famish, the Royal Oak. So
Battle of the Hotels.
Yeah, the hotels. Where's the Burrowang? We need them.
It's next in line.
Jimmy.
No, he knows what he has to do.
Sorry, we just had to advise our skipper of a Rag and Famish trying to T-bone us. So the next leg takes us right back to
Rose Bay.
So what are we seeing in this leg, Andrew?
Well, Pete, we know the breeze has got a little further left, don't we?
Yeah.
And the pressure is up a bit, on average.
So can Yandu hang on? That's the question.
Well, this is a drag race now.
Yeah.
You'd have to have faith, wouldn't you, Pete?
Yes.
In your mate Woody?
Yep. So they go to Rose Bay, then the long run back to Carrabba Point, where we've just turned, then another beat up into Rose Bay, then the run to the finish at Clark Island. So still a lot of race left here.
The top stripe on the jib, wow.
And the pivotal thing will be what actually happens on the way back down here, Pete. I don't think much is going to happen on the way upwind. The downwind leg is quite tricky.
Yeah.
That's just same with the Ilvie when they got hit by that header, like.
Yeah. But Yandu looked as if they had enough speed to
Upwind they did, didn't
Upwind,
they?
yeah,
Yeah, they looked
exactly.
really smart.
Oh, we-
Fired out of that starting line and he was away, launched.
So, the repainted vessel, the Royal Oak 4 points.
So the same old thing here, Pete. A bit of a split. High on the left, header in the middle.
The Ilvie almost having a swim just to
They
the left of
are
screen.
having a swim. They tacked, it looks as though so their day is probably over as far as competing for the top prizes. They were right in it. They tacked and just kept rolling over. So it's Yandu and Finport. Finport's we're on Jordan Gertis on Fisher Paykel. Iconic scene there, Opera House, Sydney 18 footers. As we pan around to the leaders, there's Smeg going back for more on the left. Ooh.
It's a big call, Pete.
There's a gutsy call. There he tacks now.
Here he goes.
Very gutsy. It's not much pressure,
No.
but he's the JJ Giltman champion many times over.
How many fingers am I holding up, Pete?
Yep. More than one.
Exactly. Geez, rig's all powered up, isn't it? Look at that. Wow.
Certainly is.
Got to trim the jib on a bit, boys.
Just looking for a couple of little streaky puffs that are coming around Bradley's head, but at the moment he's 10 degrees lower than the boats ahead of him.
Yeah. Lifting puff coming to him now.
He needs it. He needs it. Oh, he's... See Finport to
Yeah.
the left of screen.
So you'd have to say that risk wasn't worthwhile, wouldn't you?
No, and then way in the distance between Finport and Smeg, you might be able to just make out Yandu, the race leader, but there he's pointing it below Yandu at the moment on the Smeg. He's desperate for a left-hander.
You think
Just
that jib's
not
come back on,
coming
Bucko?
off.
Yeah. It's coming. So let's have a look at the leech of the jib of the Smeg. Can we have a look at the top of the jib leech, do you think, gents?
Give Uncle Baz some comments.
Yeah. Looks nice now. Perhaps a little undersheeted, yeah?
Yeah.
Peter, what would you do?
pull it on.
Pull it on. That's pretty sort of slightly over tolerant trim, I would say, but it's going to get some.
There's the race leader Yandu. That was Finport before that we saw. But Yandu still leads. Good speed upwind.
Same shot on these ones.
So it'll be Yandu first, Finport second. I would think Smeg will still be third, but Balmain, Tech 2 are coming into the picture somewhat.
So, Chits, just for comparison, can we have a look at Finport's leach here? And that's quite a different setup. Some Nick Daly work there, bolted in the gym. Absolutely bolted, Pete.
Yep.
You'd be pleased with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
What would Nookie Dennis do?
Good shot.
Straighter back end and less twist.
Very different gym setup, isn't it?
Yep.
Very different.
Yep. If we look at Yandu in the same light, we'll figure it out. Maybe.
Well, not do what Yandu's doing. He's just smoking upwind.
Yeah, no, he's clearly got some zip.
I'd mark everything, then go home and bring her out for the Giltons.
That's what I told him to do. If it works today, just put her in the shed.
Yeah, mark it. See you in March.
He'd be very pleased.
Oh, yeah.
Irregardless of winning a race or not. The fact that it goes like a thrashing machine, And he did marvel at the first time that he sailed with new sails from Nick. He said, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So,
In a good way or a bad way, Bugger?
in a good way. In a good way.
He's on fire.
But that looks nice to me, Pete. Slightly different to both the other two boats.
It is slightly different to certainly the FinTech.
Yeah. Not quite so hard, a little bit deeper. And Feng just doing something there, not sure. So on the main sheet, Feng Warren in the bow, the illustrious Mike Kennedy. We call him the young bloke because he's not 50 yet, or not 60 yet.
Not 60 yet.
He's worried if he can get under the boom, though. That's what he was. The boom is really low.
That's a bit of an idea, isn't it? We used to make him high so he could run too.
Yeah.
I started with some larger lads who had a bit of a problem like that.
They got larger since.
That's right. Big fella, big guy. Kept putting the boom up and up and up.
John Winning was saying that you can't make the boom any lower because it hits the leeward wing if you go to east it.
That's right.
Which could be quite catastrophic.
She's like, nice.
So they're approaching Point Piper and they've got about
And here's the thing,
400 metres to the weather mark.
I know you've sailed with Woody a bit, but he likes pressing on it.
Yes.
Most of these other blokes like squeezing. Woody likes to press forward. So he can be set up a little bit softer.
Softer, yeah. Well,
But they'd be enjoying it, wouldn't they?
absolutely. The breeze, what have we got the breeze? It'd be 8 knots, I guess, when it puffs might be a bit more.
No, a bit more, Pete. Just in double figures in the puff they're in there.
Yeah. Just generally it's down to they absolutely streeted the opposition.
Yeah. So that's a 1 minute gain in what do you reckon? 12, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
12 minutes of sailing, 11 minutes of sailing?
Incredible boat speed, isn't it? Straight line speed.
Taking off Point Piper, the eastern end of Point Piper. First heat of the club championship.
So, Pete, I think you're right. We'll tell him to put it in the shed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's set up pretty deep, but it's nice. It's really going through the water. So,
looking back.
and they were thinking about attack for a long time there because there's a big puff coming to them. But they've got a good lead. They just got to make sure they don't start fiddling around here. The puffs, all the wind's now to the right of them, so they've gone a bit tentative, Pete.
next puff's just about, we're probably going to go behind him in it here, but
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're sort of round the wrong side of
Yeah.
it to some degree, but I'll have to tack soon.
fairly good chance of that, Bucko, with the Terra Firma in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, there they go.
So they've done all right there.
Put you on tactics.
They got a bit conservative there for a minute, but they've got enough speed. It hasn't hurt them.
Almost see Finport in the background.
Fin and Balmain have got themselves into
Yeah,
Third.
Balmain look like they're now second, Pete.
Third. No, Finport's just in front
Oh,
of them.
sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, yep, sorry. We're concentrating on the leader, weren't,
Yeah, it's
weren't I? Yes.
It's a bit like Queen Victoria. There is no second.
Your Majesty.
Majesty.
Indeed, indeed. But
Anyway,
Finport's flatter setup won't be quite so handy up here.
No.
And Balmain partners aren't heavy boys, are they? They're
yeah, that's the Yandu of last year.
Henry Larkins, Mac Paul and Flynn Twomey. Plenty of skill there.
Absolutely. There's Finport just sliding around Point Piper. Such a tricky day. There's still a lot to be raced for here. Oh, bit of an ugly tack on the Finport. Not much breeze. Yandu now on a big header into Rose Bay on port tack. Just looking for pressure. There's a few big holes in the wind up here, right at the weather mark.
So the breeze a bit back in the east up here, Pete.
Yes.
So the northeast are non-genuine sort of northeast flow.
No,
Only in the main body of the harbour.
very puffy up here.
The advantage of that, they're going straight to Carrabba this time. So there's no Clark Island mark, so
No, that's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So here's the question, Pete. Can the not quite so young gentlemen on the Yandu maintain their concentration for another 20 minutes?
Well, I'd say yes. There you go.
But it is the question to some
Yeah.
degree, isn't it?
Little puff approaching them now. It's still tricky up here. Big lot of shifts. There's Balmain crossing ahead of Smeg, who were third.
Yep.
Smeg looks like they've just ducked Finport there. So
Yeah, they
no.
did. Yeah.
So Smeg spent their capital having a little gamble out to the left half over the beat, and that didn't work. So they've got some making up to do downwind. But the breeze now gone a bit wobbly.
Yeah, it's light here at the weather mark. You can see Yandu's tack. John Winning sitting in still. Crew half in, half out.
But he's on the ley line. Or not
Was.
quite.
Oh, he was.
Was.
A minute ago, but 10 seconds ago. Now he's not.
So that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
That, that's a good quick 20 degrees.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
Horrible, isn't it?
Starboard rounding, but from being on the ley line, he's now way lower, but tacks again.
I was going to say, I was thinking it was a conservative lay too.
Yes.
Shows how much we know. Oh well.
and that's young Fang out there trying to get it flat while the Burger's in there.
While the old bloke's getting through under the boom.
Burger should have stayed over the other side.
It does look a bit
Oh,
like
look at the angle change there.
It looks like
Terribly light here.
a findingy. Wow, I think if they just get a little puff, there's a little puff coming to them for the set, or ugly. But if they just get the bow down and get the set up, they'll be fine. There's a good little puff for them.
Is he going to jibe? No, it's just
No.
Barroway set.
He just does a bear away set. And
He's got a little puff to get down, the bow down.
Exactly.
And I think it's been so tricky up here that I think Smeg's got himself into second spot
yeah,
here.
despite all the above. Just a
Yeah.
little dig out to the right,
Yeah.
found a line of breeze.
It's all it took.
Tech 2 coming at him too.
Finport, he went backwards there a bit. He got into a couple of light spots. So he's dropped back. Finport, he'll be
Look at the
third or fourth. So that's Smeg tacking
So middle of the screen is Balmain.
on a monster header just gone off.
Yep.
There's, see the difference in heading.
Oh, and a good tack though. And Smeg's going to get their second. How about that?
Yeah. Now Finport's got a
You're going
lift.
to have to shoot the mark here, aren't they? Or
No,
tack.
he's got a tack.
Oh.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Yandu runs into Point Piper off screen. Smeg's second just. Finport screaming in on a...
Now, if Finport goes bow down now, they'll nearly be overlapped by the time they get to the
Why doesn't he put the bow down? Oh, he wants to get across Balmain.
Yeah, he's got to cross Balmain first.
He-
Balmain sailing unnecessary distance there.
Yes,
Just
to stir him
yeah,
up.
and that doesn't make any sense at
No,
all.
no.
Making friends and influencing people.
Okay, so now in a good puff, Finport round in third.
And as a result of that, Balmain's got distracted.
Yep,
Yep.
lost a lot. And then Tech 2 will be after Balmain, and then Lazarus Capital Partners, well, he's come back into the picture. It's that sort of race, isn't it? There's highs and lows everywhere.
Well, if you're behind, you can watch the guys ahead and see what works
Yes.
to some degree if you've got enough eyes.
So the big run back to Carrabba Point now. Yandu leads clearly, and the battle really is for second and third between Smeg,
So you think
Fintech, Balmain, Tech 2 and Lazarus Capital Partners.
We might head off with Lazarus and
Yeah. So Pete, you'd think here an early jibe would be the opportunistic choice, wouldn't you? It's
None of them have done it really.
no.
They're all run away on Port Jibe.
Tech 2 will be first. There we go.
And following this group will be Fisher Pike Kell, who
Oh.
just tacked to come into the mark.
Lazarus attacking on the face of a puff. Tech 2 just going to get their bow
Jibing.
clean.
jibing.
Attacking, I said. Not
Attacking.
tacking.
AT.
I'm just trying to. I'm trying to catch you out any chance I get, Bucko.
Attacking. Sotto voce. Attack.
I didn't hear the A.
Exactly. So
Now,
Tech 2's maximised their opportunity there, haven't they?
there's some massive headers in this
Yeah.
run now. And Yandu's bowed down and heading to Clark Island.
So they now know that Yandu's went too far on the other jibe.
Yeah. If you jibe early, you've got a half a chance here.
Yeah.
Yandu's now bow up.
But Pete, I can tell you, the trickiest thing to judge is the right spot. I can tell you from some experience of getting it wrong, okay?
So the trickiest thing is when to drop or when to jibe, or both.
No, well, what happens is you get past the free stream in the middle of the channel, you get lifted again
Yes.
and lightened. So you have to be on the leeward edge.
Yeah. Drop and then reset perhaps.
Well, no, just get it right.
Well,
Yeah.
they're all pointing 50 degrees lower than mark at the moment.
Well, only 20, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They'd be happy to be on that northeast course right now, wouldn't they?
Oh,
the
well,
angle they're running.
Yeah.
I did try to encourage that, Jimmy, but
Okay, well, there's a good shot of Lazarus. Capital
Great.
Partners
They
and
look
Tech 2.
the,
They're just racing along the foreshore at Point Piper there. The mark they've got to go is right up at Kirribillion, Carrabba Point. So
yeah,
at the moment they're what, 20 degrees low at least.
they're roughly 20 low. Smeg making a pretty good fist of it though.
Up ahead, Smeg is making a good fist of it. Yandu, meanwhile, off to Garden Island. So when do you drop? That's what Yandu's got to decide.
No, Smeg will keep fighting the good fight. Tech 2 also.
Yeah.
Big workout for the forward hands here.
That's Tech 2 and Finport just ahead of her. Screaming down, but they're way low of the mark. Yandu's just to the north of Clark Island, only by about 50 metres. That's how far low they are, but they're starting to try and get the bow up now.
Well,
Smeg's out in the midstream.
yeah. And Smeg will be able to lay for Dennis and Pete, I think, which will be the drop point, as I said from the last time around.
Yes, you did.
And we'll see, because he might be in the lead. Because he gets an easier look at the drop decision, yeah?
Yes. He's got super pressure though, the Smeg. He's just,
No, he's happy though, I can tell you that.
Yeah, you don't want pressure at the moment.
no, he's just, the ferry's just gone up to windward of him, which will blanket him there. He's just got a little puff there.
So that's the
Lazarus just back here.
Bradley's head puff. Good stuff.
Yeah, there's the two leaders. Yandu way in the distance, going across Russcutters Bay towards Garden Island. Smeg way up to windward. The mark down at Kirribilli or Carraba Point. Yandu, when do they drop? That's the question.
And Smeg doesn't even have to think about it at the moment. They're
No.
just sailing.
They're probably almost laying.
Almost.
Yandu's got more header down there, still three stringing. They got a good puff down there, Yandu. He's got to get rid of it shortly, you'd say.
Which he didn't want.
There he goes, I think now. Yes, Yandu's dropping.
Yeah. So advantage Smeg. How about that?
Yeah, so Main and Jim reach up now, but how much has Smeg closed up here?
The next generation of bear claws from the Barnabas clan are learning how to wrangle a kite going down here
On the Lazarus.
on the Smeg.
Oh, no.
Zach Barnabas.
No, he already knows. I can tell you.
Zach taking over from his father Trent in the bow of Smeg. Ricky Bridge and Michael Coxon, part of the winning team last year. Young Zach Barnabas getting a good introduction to it here of high pressure sailing.
So now tricky for Yandu. Coming from the leeward edge, he'll come out in front, but then he might have to reset to get down to the mark again. It's a very perplexing leg, this one.
Perplexing.
Yeah, there's
Have to come out with a season 21-22 thesaurus for everyone, Bucko.
Well, I've been perplexed, Jimmy, on it a few times, okay?
Smeg and Yandu, the two leaders, and then Finport, Tech 2, Lazarus Capital and Balmain, who dropped back a little bit there. They didn't fare so well there, Balmain, but
He's probably a bit light, but you see the effect here. Smeg nearly VMG running now.
yeah.
Well, they're well above the mark, Smeg now.
Main's still in the middle of the boat, so that would tell you that Yandu has to be very careful about getting on the high side of the line, or anywhere near the high side of the line.
Yeah, Smeg are above the mark, aren't they?
Yep.
He's looking for the header, which doesn't exist with the
No.
breeze like this.
And looking where he's going, there's not much grunt coming to him.
Got some
He's
coverage-
good one now, having just said that.
Coverage off a power boat.
Yeah.
Have a look at this, folks.
John Oxley, is it?
Yeah. He has got a good little puff there, but not much after that.
So Yandu might have got it about right, Pete?
Yeah, I think he might have.
And these guys are going to have to jibe again.
Yeah, there's not much breeze where they're going, Smeg.
Well, there's
Yandu are going to sneak around in front of them for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah, that's right. So here's the header now with pressure for Smeg. But advantage might go back to Finport for second.
Quite opposite to last time we had this course, Bucko.
A bit different. Finport's about in the right spot
Yeah.
with Tech 2. A bit further back.
Yeah, the thing there, Andrew, is Yandu jugs that almost perfectly when they dropped, didn't they?
Yeah,
They've almost been three stringy in and reaching.
yeah. And
Smeg have got themselves way too high here.
well, yeah, and so hindsight is a wonderful
Yeah.
thing, Peter, isn't it? I told you it was a tricky leg.
There's Yandu's round.
So
He maintains a very good lead.
and that's the key. You cannot sail these boats at not three strings. So keep,
Smeg.
use all the riding moment all the time, otherwise you're not in the odd race.
So the lead is going to be close to a minute as well, or maybe a bit longer. Smeg are nowhere near the lay line. They're going to jive
Yep.
and go back in and
Yep. And Finport will be second, I think.
be close to second. They look good for a while, Smeg, but they never got that puff to get the bow down. Yeah. Yandu around.
Well, they fought so hard to get that height, and then,
Yeah.
yeah, the letdown just wasn't there for them.
Yandu did that very, very well. There's Yandu. They're around. They're on their way back to Rose Bay and then to the finish at Clark Island.
But Finport did it best.
Yeah, they're Finport and Tech 2 will probably be close to front of Smeg as well.
Yep. If
Tech 2 have got starboard tack advantage. Orange Spinnaker is Balmain. See Tech 2 running in with the red spinnaker. They will
Tech 2 going
drop
in
in.
and drop.
Yeah, drop. Smegger got,
So it's 1 minute, Pete.
yep, great lead again.
Tech 2 in the hunt.
Well, they're fourth. Smeg around in third. Spinnaker just getting tidied up now.
Pretty good work on both boats. So
Yep.
tight circumstances, little puff. Now it'll be interesting to see what Tech 2 does here, where they try and tack straight away, which I think will be recommended. But
Lazarus Capital around. The Spinnaker down. Good work.
Nice tidy around here.
Yeah, Balmain looks good. They're next. A good battle for second and third, that's for sure. And then a fair gap then to Fisher Paykel. They'll be next. Yandu leads. They're on their way to the
last windward mark.
final turning mark, which will be up in Rose Bay again. Breeze still up and down. A few little puffs here at the leeward mark. What do we got? About 10 knots here, Andrew? Maybe 11 at best.
Yep, something like that, Pete. Medium jib.
Yep.
9.5.
9.5, that'll do me.
Jimmy's having an argument with us as usual. Oh, well.
It's good to have you back, Bucko.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
We've missed you. I know it's only been 1 week, but we've
Yeah,
missed
well.
you.
So most boats have stood out on starboard for 100 metres or more or less and tacked to get onto port. First attack was the fin port. Watching Fisher Paykel go round. And then just go up through the fleet coming down, Jimmy. And they'd be about 6th, I think, those boys. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7th. 7th they'd be. And then next around will be the Royal Oak. Then Burrawang.
Quite like that blue on the spinnaker on the Burrawang.
Burrawang,
Quite a nice bright blue.
Haven't seen the Rag and Famish. Oh, they're coming. There's Fintech, then the Rag and Famish coming down. The leading group are on their way to the final weather mark up in Rose Bay. Yandu leads. A very close battle for second between Finport, Tech 2, Smeg, and Balmain. Yandu in the distance is tacked to consolidate and getting across in front of the fleet, which I think is probably a pretty smooth move, I think.
Well, he's in the northeast flow, Pete.
Yeah.
So
He had to protect that windward side, I think. Go a little longer and he'll tack. But we're not on him at the moment. Balmain just tacked. Yandu in the distance of tack. There's Balmain. Yeah. Nice solid tactics from Yandu. They put themselves up to windward of the fleet.
not much left though, Pete.
No. But he's got good leverage there, Yandu, where he is. He can.
Oh yeah, no, he's got
Yeah.
plenty of options. He's got a minute up his sleeve as well, so
Boat.
pretty handy. This,
Finport Tech 2. They're in mid-harbour. That's Clark Island in the background. They're laying in towards. Smeg's further up to windward. Right up to windward is Lazarus Capital Partners. They've gone for the Doctor. Hard left. Meanwhile, head of the pack, Yandu keeps on keeping on.
just
Oh, no, easy, easy. Easy.
So breeze in the middle of the harbour here, about 12, 11.
Yeah. And in the left.
Tide still flood. So sort of east northeast flow.
And on Tech 2, what do we...
And a bit of 12, 13 there, Pete. Mate's
Yeah.
still starting to invert,
Yeah.
just in a puff.
More little puff coming down to Tech 2.
Big race for the pole, so second and third and fourth here.
Yeah.
And Finport likes this slightly more uprange stuff.
He was good last year in this stuff, wasn't he?
Yep.
Solid.
Doesn't like the downrange, though. Yeah. Bryce Edwards on the main sheet today on the Finport, so. Smooching along here with Tech 2 and Lazarus. Smeg.
There's Lazarus, who went furthest left of the whole fleet. Just looking for that left-hander, which is not coming to him at the moment. Finport and Tech 2 are coming around his bow.
Not a bad crew at all on there today on the Lazarus, with Marcus, Geronimo Harrison, and Blake just learning to cut his teeth in skiffs. Dan Phillips.
Yeah, no.
Dan brings a ton of experience to that campaign today.
Yeah. And they've sailed actually pretty well.
Well, Yandu have played that pretty well up in the lead. They've put themselves in a great position, right in front of the fleet. Came across and consolidated their position, but just seemed to win to the pack. They're now all high on port going into the Rose Bay mark. So Yandu way in the distance. He'd lead clearly.
Yeah, and these other guys, Finport's now hurting the rest of them here now. So,
Yes.
so probably Finport will get second, I would think. Or should get second.
Yeah, still a tricky run to come to the finish for this group.
Well, it's almost one legger, so it shouldn't be too
Yeah.
bad.
And you got that joggle up near the top mark like last time. If
Yeah,
that's there again, that'll.
no.
Getting around that top mark's the tricky part.
The
Yeah.
top mark is the tricky part. If it's lighter and wobbly, go down and then back up. Just down, down, and then back up. Straight. So the breeze just a little softer where we are with Smeg in the middle of the harbour here. But the boat's all in high left but soft. So quite an unusual breeze, Peter, as the day evolves. And the model had it right, didn't it? Peak wind speed a little while ago. Breeze now softening. And if anything, just going a little bit back to the right. But down to 8 knots where we are in the middle of the stream. Perhaps 10 in the puffs. Hard work going on here.
Yeah, a few bent knees.
Rig settings all softened. Get some headstay sag and make sure you maintain full pressure. Just watch Lazarus here going to the puff. Now it's
Now there's straight legs.
there's well deepened up, so it'll be a bit of a challenge.
There's more puff coming to him, more
Yep,
left-handed.
Yep, so might need to tweak a few things here, boys.
Let's wake up.
Mate's a little deep, but still going forwards. And got a good clamp on the Smeg. And Tech 2 really bolting it in, aren't they?
So you've got a massive left-hander here.
So if you can just see there on screen, to the left Lazarus, to the right Smeg, and in the middle Tech 2, and in the distance Finport, and gone, I think, Yandu. But no, over to the right, yeah, but a long way away. But off the edge of it a bit.
Yeah, he's fallen off the edge a bit there. But
It's
I
just
think
the right of screening of that shot.
Roan returning. So game on a bit again.
Yeah, there might be a few anxious looks on Yandu here. There's 5 of these 4 boats all lifted way off him then in the last minute or two. And they're just holding their height. And Finport, so they'd be a little anxious on Yandu. They've probably got enough up their sleeve, I would think. It'll start to head shortly, I think. Yes, Finport's just dropped off it.
If you're watching here in the middle, 2/3 left on the screen, Finport just bowed down and in softer pressure in the lee of the island. It's got plenty of good pine trees on it. So
Lazarus is just coming off it now. Yeah. Now Yandu's held their nerve there up with pressure way in the distance. They're now coming around the bow of this whole fleet. Lazarus still good pressure, but they're going to fall off the edge of the earth here in a moment.
yeah,
Yandu's doubled his lead for sure. Hey, it's extraordinary.
well, if you're high left here, you've got to sail through quite a bit of lead.
Look at them now, they're really suffering. These boats have looked good for a couple of minutes, but now they're really hurting. No pressure and heading. Ugh. Meanwhile, Yandu approaches the weather mark in Rose Bay for the last time. Almost a one-legger back at Spinnaker, as you say, Andrew. There's Yandu, he's about to round the weather mark.
So he needs to do a jibe set.
Yes, you think so?
And he's rounding in a puff. Can't get away.
Nothing silly, boys. There you go.
He's not going to jibe.
No, he's going to set and then jibe, I think. Yeah.
He's got more than a minute. Here he goes, Pete.
Yep. Set and jibe. The boat you'll see in the background at the moment is Lazarus Developments. They're being lapped, unfortunately.
In need of development.
Yep. New crew, but anyway, some good powerboat waves here for Yandu. Oh, what another gentlemanly skipper in that powerboat. Should be
Soften
banned.
it up, Pete.
Absolutely banned. Anyway. Oh,
no.
Yandu, no. Oh, dear.
We talked about powerboat waves, Pete.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
No, we're struggling to, in fact.
That is very... Well, I can't say on air what I'm thinking now.
Reserve it for the
And
bar,
I hate
Pete.
to think what John Winning's thinking.
Okay, let's go back up to the mark.
Unbelievable. You could just... The picture tells us
1,000
words there. That was very, very sad.
So it's a big job for the crew now. Get the wet spinnaker, retrieve it, stick it in the bag, get it back up. Minimum of 2 minutes. So Finport is now in second, and they are going to do a barrelway set.
Yeah. Finport will be round next. Tech 2, then Smeg. So Tech 2's got himself back into that. That is sickening to see that. It's such a brilliant race till then. And that powerboat just literally cut him in half.
And Finport jiving, which is the correct.
But it's important. He got to where he was going to have his picnic.
Yeah.
5 minutes quicker.
Exactly. I mean,
And
what do you say? You shake your head.
Tech 2 on the attack here.
And Tech 2, this could be advantage Tech 2 here. But Yandu had nowhere to go. I mean,
No.
as soon as you get down that wave, the Spinnaker fills at the bow. And
I don't know if you saw what it was, Pete, but it was a confluence of 2 powerboat washes.
leaves you with a hollow feeling, that's for sure.
Yep.
Anyway, Tech 2 and Finport, they will fight out the lead. And I just give you a bit of advice. If you're watching and you decide to go down the park after the race, don't go near John Winning.
Free advice.
Well, I mean, rightly so too. He'll be bitterly disappointed. Anyway, he knows the boat's got speed. I mean, it's the only good thing he can take out of this. But meanwhile, we'll focus on the 2 leaders who are now Finport and Tech 2. In the background, Yandu is up, but his race for the lead is over. And they're on the lay line of the finish, Finport and Tech 2. Finport just going near another powerboat, but he's not pushing half the ocean that that other idiot was. So you'd have to say Finport holds the advantage here as Rag and Famish goes upwind between them, and then Vintech as well.
Yeah, so
They'll have to jibe in.
it's a jibe into the
Yeah.
finish, Pete, so Finport doesn't have to do anything too special.
No.
That's a pretty good effort from those boys.
Yeah. Another powerboat going across
Powerboat.
it.
Very important.
Wow. Where's our infamous RMS, or what do they call themselves? Why aren't they out here watching this? These blokes should be banned from the harbour.
Yeah, that bloke's putting up some wash also, isn't he?
Well, he could just have gone behind them, you know. No difference to go behind him. They're obviously not, they've got no idea. Anyway, don't get me started.
No, you have started.
Yeah. Wait till I really start.
Copy.
Tech 2 and behind him, Finport there's just poke his nose out now. They'll probably one jibing in this, I think. I think Finport will wait till Tech 2 jibes.
Yeah, Finport just has to stay calm.
Yes, yeah.
That'll be good, I think. You'll
Yeah.
find the experienced campaigners. But Tech 2 would be happy to have got back to second with not quite the, normal line with Luke Parkinson in the middle, so a bit less crew weight and not quite the settled combination. They've given themselves a shot here, though.
Yeah,
Pete.
they are.
They'll
Here
have
they
to
go.
jibe first
They'll
and see what
jibe
happens.
yeah. Now, it's game on.
Finport has to respond.
Yeah, they need a good jibe.
Oh, no, he's gone across him. Oh, well. Trusting his judgment on the lay line.
Not a very long line either.
Jeez,
No.
I don't know.
No, Tech 2's going to beat him.
I think he will. Tech 2
No,
will be.
I think, Jack's judgment on the lay line.
Yeah, it looks pretty good to me.
Impeccable. No, he gets it right 98% of the time.
It's not over yet. It's
No,
close. It's
never
close.
over, but
I think he's getting lifted. No, Tech 2, I think now.
have a look at the puff coming, though, Pete. Big bit of wind coming for him. Finport will struggle to get to the pit.
Yeah, yes. Oh, talk about changing the lead.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Tech 2's going to get bowed down here with pressure,
Yeah, good puff.
and he's going to do it. Wow, there you go.
Wow. Never over till it's over, is it, mate?
It is not. Tech 2, wow. 10 minutes ago, you wouldn't have put your money on that.
No, but have a look at Finport now. Going to have to rag
Yeah,
it.
ragged the guy. Yeah, he
Nicely
threw
done.
that away.
Nicely done by
Finport.
Tegno. Yeah, he just
Absolutely.
didn't figure it out. So,
No.
and he's going to go on the tide now with the jib.
Oh, jeez.
The jib pinned on a bit, Jimmy. These.
A Tech 2 first, Finport second. Oh, dear.
Wow. What a race. What a day.
Well, high on disappointment for some, namely Yandu and Finport.
Yeah.
Tech 2 hung in there. So
Well,
solid last leg there.
Smeg coming in hot.
Smeg hot. Indeed, Jimmy. Third, and Yandu has still managed to
Get fourth.
fourth, probably.
Out of all that, indeed.
Yeah. Here comes Smeg.
You got a feel for Woody though, don't you?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure we've all been there at some point, but it's just.
but Jimmy, I tell you what, on balance, he'll say, wow, the thing's fast.
It's lit
Well,
up,
that's
isn't
right,
it?
yeah.
It's got straight line speed to burn, which is great. So I could put the spanners away on this rig.
Smeg will be has crossed third. Yandu fourth after leading the whole way. Fifth will be perhaps Lazarus or Fisher Paykel. There's Yandu.
Berger just letting us know what his thoughts were on the situation too.
Well, he used the code for not quite ideal.
Yes.
Good job, though.
Yep. They did well to get the boat up.
No, they've done a good
Yeah,
job.
You know, Spinnaker was up and had to get that down, and they had a bit in the tank to spare, but gee.
Just be happy. Fourth.
Yep, fourth, and then coming in will be a Lazarus Capital. Will be fifth, and then sixth,
Very close finish here.
yep, Fisher and Paykel. Seventh, Balmain. Another good
so-
day for those boys.
So they just faded a bit at the end. They
Yes.
started to try and bother other people and
Yep.
have paid the price. The
Yeah, 'cause
Balmain boys. But it's still a good effort for their first scratch race with nearly full Sydney Harbour fleet.
It's a full float barring one, isn't it, today, Bucko? Barring Sean on the notes.
Barring
Yeah.
notes, exactly. Gotta love the
Well, I think that,
colour scheme on the Balmain too, I've got to say.
yeah.
Different and quite distinctive.
The word is that multiple JJ champion Sevi Jarvin's going to be sailing the boat that was set aside for the winning group. Is that what we're hearing?
That is what we're hearing.
Yeah. I don't know what the sponsorship arrangement is, but I believe he's going to be steering the boat.
I'm sure it's a bit like the Rolls-Royce. The sponsorship arrangement will be adequate. A bit like the Rolls-Royce horsepower, Peter.
Yeah. I think your old skipper might have something to do with that.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly. And I know that talking to Sev, he's very pleased to get back on the stick. But, and we did see him in the 7 one day tip over in a big powerboat wash up near Watson's Bay. Do you remember that one, Pete?
Yes, I do.
They played it as well as you could play it. They put the bow up, they fragged the chute, they did, and they still went down like a sack of whatever. And that was a
Rag and Famish there on screen and Fintech.
53 foot game boat doing about 25 knots.
Well, I think,
53 foot game boat.
well, now that I've settled down a bit, I think what it gets down to is that the powerboat skippers should have some idea of sailing. So all they had to do was go behind a boat, not in front of them.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I mean, it's simple to us who know what to do, but these blokes get these powerboats, they just push across the front of them.
Well, they bought them
And
on Parramatta Road, didn't they, Pete? something like that.
But it's no different to go behind or in front. I mean, they just... Anyway.
Settle, petal.
Yes.
The outrage.
Yeah, right. But Pete, what a good day. Sydney Harbour
Yeah.
had its shiny,
Yeah.
shiny, tricky best, we'd say, wouldn't we, really?
And I know we're going to see a lot
My
more
goodness.
carnage, drama, call it what you like, before the season is out. But anyway, Tech 2 are the winners. Full marks to those boys.
Yeah.
Finport second.
But you'd have to say also, quite good quality for the second race of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
The front 8 boats were having a good old...
Well, that group, that
Yeah.
chasing pack,
It's gonna be a good-
right on top of each other.
A good season, you'd think.
And, pleasingly, Balmain Slake and some of the other younger crews making a pretty good fist
Yeah.
as well.
Fisher Paykel, a young
Yeah.
crew, they're up there last week, up there this week.
I think this is Noakes Youth, the Vintech.
Yeah, it is no excuse. You're quite right. The
Oh, is
Just
it?
in the middle of changing the name. But
labelling's a bit not quite right.
Sean's got a bit on this year with sponsoring 3 boats. So
Yeah.
Oh, so Vintech becomes Noakes Youth.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So we've got Noakes Youth, Noakes Blue, and Noakes,
Noakes Sailing.
Sailing.
Right. Okay, so that's Noakes Youth. And then we're on Burrawang Hotel.
The Shore and Partners hasn't had a very good day, Jimmy.
No, well, the other one
No.
of just having a bit of a look around for is Ilvy. Remember they had that swim going upwind
Yes, they
the second time. At whatever caused the swim must have been terminal because I haven't seen
They
them
haven't
back
come
on
back,
the.
have they?
No, I haven't seen them back out on the track.
They never looked comfortable at any point, I didn't think.
Mate, they had the great Doz on there. Always comfortable.
Okay,
The
the
beak.
Burrawang Hotel. Across 11th will be the Kitchen Maker. And Shore and Partners will follow them in.
As we mentioned, one they probably could improve on. Steve Thomas, Lindsay Stead and Lockie Pryor. A new lineup, to be fair.
Mhm.
But, they did look the rig looked very odd up the first speed, as I noted. But nothing easy about relining 3 crewmen who haven't met each other.
No, that's makes life a bit difficult, but there's only one way for them, that's up. So anyway, another very, very exciting day on the harbour in more ways than one. First heat of the club championship, and it was won by Tech 2. Jack McCartney.
In unlikely circumstances,
Well,
Peter.
yeah, you've got to take your moments, I guess, and they certainly pounced at the right time. Jack McCartney, Luke Parkinson and Lewis Brake were first. Finport, Keegan York was second. Michael Coxon in Smeg was third. John Winning was fourth in Yandu. Lazarus fifth. Fisher Paykel sixth. Balmain 7. Rag and Famish 8. Noakes Youth 9 and the Burrawang Hotel 10. So on behalf of Jimmy Bury and his beautiful craft and the Sail Media boys, we hope you've enjoyed today's 18-footer race. We've certainly enjoyed bringing it to you out on the water. Andrew Buckland, been good to have you back and bring your insightful knowledge both on sailing and the weather, which we've enjoyed. And we hope to see you next week. So on behalf of everyone, the camera boys and all the tech guys here, we say thank you to them and hope you've enjoyed it. So on behalf of Jimmy Bury, Andrew Buckland, I'm Peter Shipway saying goodbye and we'll see you next week from Sydney Harbour.